It's time for Market Explainer, your number one business news podcast. Hosted by Danny and the big man. And it starts right now.
So this next story is about Facebook. It loses a bunch of value. But before that, click the link in our description to learn about Acre Gold and sign up.
There you go.
So it's really cool that Facebook lost. So when Big Man sent me the story, the first thing I said was he deserves it.
Not me personally, but Mark Zuckerberg, you say, Zuckerberg.
Yeah. Zuckerberg deserves it because I have never understood the hype over Facebook and its valuation. I thought it had a hype valuation from off the rip. They were losing $1 billion. They were making $1 billion a year when they went public, and they were burning $1 billion a year. So they were break even, and they IPO'd at a $52 billion value. I don't get it. I never got it. I don't get what people were so hyped about. It was a hype value from the jump. $52 billion off of a company that's breaking even.
I humbly disagree. They literally created a new way of not only collecting data from people, but processing it and monetizing it in so many different ways. And then in the future, they turned around and not only, because here's what Facebook did that people don't give them enough credit for, whether you agree with the process or not. They not only to big corporations, which is traditionally television, radio, all of them, big corporations buy time on the radio. They buy time on TV, Coca-Cola and all these different things.
Never heard of them.
Facebook turned around and did is we're not going to only take their money. We're going to take all of their money too. But we're going to make these business tools available to anyone that's willing to give us money. And they made it a small business ability to Facebook market. And they not only did that, but they did that and said, we're not going to teach anybody how to use it either. So small business people, individuals are going to give us $10, $20, $100 and not even understand how to use it. So they're throwing their money down a pit.
Well, some businesses use that to their advantage and market it very well. So what you're saying is their main product is your information.
Of course, that's, again,
look,
there's no such thing as free. Anything that you use that is free on this or any other device is collecting your information and using that information to, at the very least, sell to advertisers, if not turning around and just selling in that entire data.
Yeah.
Entirely.
And that's fine, right? Everybody's okay with that, right?
Currently, in 2022, yes.
Okay.
And whether you're okay with it or not, you're at the very least giving in with your ignorance of the situation. Right? By clicking that box, terms and conditions that nobody reads, you are absolutely giving your consent.
Right. So one of the other things about, this stock drop is that Facebook lost about 500,000 daily active users in the last 3 months of 2021. I think
first time in its history of being a publicly traded company that is in any given quarter, lost users.
Correct. So many people like me, I think, are saying goodbye, ta-ta. We're saying ta-ta to the social media, or I'm checking out, man. I'm gonna get rid of my Twitter starting March 1st. I'm out, bro.
No, you're
I'm
not.
quitting.
But look, so Facebook has been for a very long time up there with Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, these big blue chip companies that, hey, just stick your money over here. You're going to get a 2 or 3% return year over year, and they're just going to grow forever, right?
Correct.
Facebook was in that category. The problem is you have quarterly earnings calls and stuff like that. So in the same day they had to announce, because you're legally obligated to let shareholders know what's going on with your company. The
Right.
same day that they had to announce for the first time ever we lost people that use our platform, they
Right.
also had to announce that they've lost $10 billion in that same quarter, uh, creating and trying to invest in the multiverse, the
Metaverse,
metaverse,
yeah.
right? The multiverse, the metaverse, right?
No, they're
And
investing in the metaverse. My hedge fund is the only company investing in the multiverse. I just
all
want
right.
you to remember that. My
And
hedge fund.
then on top of that, because of those things, they also had to change their numbers for forecasting moving forward, which has never happened, right?
Right.
So weaker forecast, lost money,
Right.
and
Lost users.
lost users. That
Yep.
is the worst scenario you can have for a social media company. Is it any surprise that you turn around and have the worst day in stock history?
He deserves it because he is a lizard person.
Danny loves to say that he's either an alien or he's a clone,
Or a
right?
robot.
Gone wrong.
Hey. You sent me a screenshot from a Vice article, and if you look at that picture, there is no way a person looks like that.
All I'm saying
How
is
come? How
people like Jeff
come?
Bezos and
Right.
Elon Musk, if you see
Correct.
pictures of them back in the day,
10
they look
years
like
ago.
nerds, right? Thinning hair. They look
Yes.
like your classic nerds, right? Eye
Correct.
glasses and all this stuff. And then for whatever reason, you show them a picture now, man, they got perfect hair. All of a sudden
Jeff
grows back when
Jeff
you're a billionaire.
well, so Jeff Bezos has no hair. I bet you within the next 6 months, make the prediction here and now, you can bookmark it. Jeff Bezos will have a goatee.
But he's jacked. Jeff Bezos
He's
is
jacked.
jacked.
He's
Like
wearing he's wearing he was wearing a Gucci button down like half open in Miami.
I'm sure it's all the cabal. I'm sure they're drinking the
Yeah,
blood of whoever the
yeah,
innocent, and
correct.
I'm sure
Elon
that's what it
Musk.
all. But why doesn't all I'm saying is why does Mark Zuckerberg still look this way when
Yes,
everybody else that has money fixes
yeah.
something?
It makes. I'm just saying, as a guy who's observing the world around him, it makes no sense that this one guy. Everyone else went to like looking like schlubs to looking like champs. This guy is. He didn't. He didn't go looking like a champ to looking like a schlub. He just doesn't look human anymore. Okay.
He looks. I don't know. Maybe he's
Okay.
aging weird. I don't.
No,
The
he's not
mask
aging
that he's
weird.
using because he's a lizard man is
Yeah.
is aging
Correct.
weird. I don't know.
So.
Okay, but yes.
Now there is a conspiracy, and I'm a conspiracy guy.
No.
I'm pilloried as a conspiracy guy. I'm not really a conspiracy guy. I'm just a pre-fact guy. I
He
just
is.
say things. Yeah, I just believe the thing that.
Pre-facts.
Yeah, they become true after I believe them, and they.
That goes on a shirt immediately. That needs to go on a shirt. I am not a conspiracy theorist. I just believe in pre-facts.
Yeah,
That's going to be a new shirt.
because I remember listening to a guy on the radio talking about a certain someone and his manifest on his airplane and how the people who've been getting on his airplane and they've been flying to a certain island. Turns out it was all real. So
That makes every conspiracy real. But the conspiracy you're talking about in this case is all
that
of this has brought Meta down to below a $600 billion market cap.
right, which now creates a scenario which there's less scrutiny from regulators on their business when it comes to mergers, acquisitions, and so on. And there might be a strategic play here where they say, okay, let's intentionally tell the truth about the reality of the situation. Let's hope it craters our stock. I think what they thought was it'll take 2 or 3 months for the sell off to be complete. It took 2 or 3 seconds,
Right.
right? The sell off came and they were just like, it happened. So maybe in the context of metaverse, they want to go start making some dark acquisitions, right? They want to go set up some whatever, and they want to start acquiring certain things to build this new universe. Um, in which none of us will have rights or names. Will be assigned numbers. If you
Well,
want to
so
see your Facebook metaverse number, you can actually already go. You already have it. So it's like a
you already
social
have it.
security number.
Does lower the number better or higher the number better? What is
Lower the number better is like it's like North Korea. The lower the number, the closer into Pyongyang you live, and the nicer
is
you
that,
live.
is that
Yeah,
so? Why is 600 billion? This number that was updated and
matters.
whatever. Look, it matters because the government is trying to, in the antitrust access, right? The people at the government that are in charge of antitrust lawsuits, antitrust, laws and regulations have been kicking around, and it's gotten serious here recently. Laws that pertain to these mega companies,
Right,
right? Very few times in our history have we had companies so big that can literally just buy up what the competition, not only just buy up
yeah,
the competition,
and
and they're hanging their hat on the fact that Meta owns Instagram and WhatsApp, for example, because these are competing social media platforms that
right,
actually are owned both by Meta, and that does not create an environment of competition,
right,
right? So they're trying to create regulations, and one of the numbers that's been thrown around. Now, this none of this is law yet, right? But the
right,
number that's been thrown around is companies that have a higher than $600 billion market cap, like Alphabet,
right,
Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Meta, right? And having these rules that apply to these mega companies that don't
right,
necessarily apply to other people, like antitrust, skipping certain things in antitrust, because antitrust lawsuits actually can stretch out, obviously, a long
oh yeah,
time. So
right,
essentially, they would be creating a fast track for
right,
antitrust law, so that if you were a small company, let's say you owned WhatsApp, right, and
right,
you were a direct competitor to Instagram, right now, Meta,
right,
Google, any of these people, Alphabet, could come in and just buy you, write you a
right.
check so big that the people at the top don't care about the users,
They
right?
don't care about
Write you a check,
anybody.
you're done.
It's
And
over.
unless you or someone else, maybe a little
Right,
bitty investor in that company, but you're happy to because you got a check, but
right,
didn't want it sold, you could file an antitrust lawsuit, but it's probably not going anywhere because of the cost of getting it all the way through, right?
right,
Essentially, for these big companies, they would create a speed trap. That's their argument right now, is if we create something fast that would
right,
alleviate the high cost and burden of people going after these big companies, they would be less likely to do it. Now,
right,
again, none of this is passed. It's just what's being talked about. So when Danny
right,
says his conspiracy theory is this Meta getting its market cap down so that it won't apply to them, because in the grand scheme of things you go, okay, it's lost 282, now 200, over 300 billion dollars in market cap.
right.
Does that really change Mark Zuckerberg's pocketbook?
No,
Does
he's
it?
still going to drive a dumb car. And one of the other reasons I hate Zuck marker stands is, bro, the whole point. Again, this I made this point earlier in this episode of anti-capitalists getting into the world of being capitalist is you do it wrong. The whole point of being a billionaire is to buy a yacht that pisses off an entire country. The whole point of being a billionaire is to leave your first wife and to build a harem, right? The whole point of becoming a billionaire.
So Jeff Bezos is the entire thing. You just so, Jeff,
Yeah. So, like, the whole point of doing all this, launch dick rockets into the sky. What are you doing, bro? What are you doing? You're going to these hearings like
uh huh.
with your Floby haircuts and going, "Well, Senator, it's not immediately obvious to me." Shut up, dude. You get some flunky to do this job, and you leave your wife. You get another one, and you're off the coast of Fiji with a huge yacht. You're not paying taxes to any jurisdiction.
He
What are you
apparently is not going to
doing?
do it. He is not. He doesn't get it. He's not going to do it. Maybe he is a lizard man. I don't know, but he
Yeah,
literally
no,
made history.
the fact that he isn't like Elon Musk is out here. Elon Musk is having a good time, right? He's tweeting
Hmm.
whatever nonsense.
Jeff
Bezos
Bezos.
is He's
shooting
not tweeting
penises into
anything.
the sky. He's
Right.
doing fine, having fun.
Yeah. So like Warren Buffet is always talking about, well, Dairy Queen. I really like the stock, the fundamentals. So
Hey,
he's
but he's having a
nerding
good
out.
time. He's still having a good time though.
He's having a good time. Mark Zuckerman is not having any fun.
No,
He
no.
learned to speak Mandarin Chinese. But the point of having $1 billion is you just have a person standing next to you 24 hours a day, and you're hot swapping them out, and they speak Mandarin Chinese or whatever language. You don't go learn another language. You don't learn. You don't advance. You don't grow as a person. You have $1 billion.
This is yet another thing that we have to talk about because it's history, it's
Yeah.
big news, but
Right.
doesn't affect the common person. The common person didn't own enough of Facebook for this to
matter.
hurt them. It did, however, it hurts a number that sits next to Mark Zuckerberg's name. It hurts a number next to some fund
Right.
or, whatever.
Hey,
but in reality,
it doesn't matter. I mean, Peter Thiel is now leaving their board, unrelated to this, right? Unrelated. But, so a lot is happening at Facebook that is shaking up that lends credence to the notion that I think they're okay with losing this kind of market cap because it allows them to readjust. It's kind of like sometimes if you're on an airplane and your boxer briefs get too bunched up that you're like, I just can't deal with this. So you have to go into the bathroom and just readjust the whole thing by lowering your pants. You got to unbuckle everything.
I think that's only a fat people thing, but I like where your head's at.
I think it's only a fat person thing. But guess what? I'm speaking to the majority of this country. Okay? We got so rich that we all got fat and we have heart disease.
Did they know this was coming? And again, speaking of conspiracy theories, did they know this was coming? Because look, they got a lot of really smart people that work for Meta, right?
I think
did they know this was coming? And they made Meta last quarter as a again, we said at that time they're trying to separate their overall business from Facebook, right? That they saw this coming down the pipe and they said, we're going to create this umbrella company and we're going to use this and then we're going to rip that Band-Aid off all at one time. But we've already made Meta, so it's not Meta, it's Facebook, right? And then we're going to rip that Band-Aid all at one time, and we're going to give everybody all the bad news all at one time so that we can continue down this Meta path.
Well, I mean, if there's one thing you have to give companies like Google and other companies like Uber and stuff credit for is they were self-disruptors. So I to his credit, the great lizard man Mark Zuckerman probably understands that if he doesn't innovate something, if he doesn't, this has to be an ego play as well, because this is like, I've done everything for you people. I've pretended not to have money. I live in a modest home for the amount of money that I have. I cut my own hair. I've butchered a chicken on Facebook Live. I've done everything for you people, and you don't give he wants another hit.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I get it.
He doesn't want to be Milli Vanilli. He doesn't want to be a one-hit wonder. Because he acquired his way into what he had, the portfolio that they have now. He wants to. Does he still have it? Let me tell you something. No, you don't.
Well, and if you wonder why, again, Danny, not a big government guy, but if you wonder why regulators get up in arms about this kind of stuff and why would they be looking at, any rules about this or whatever, I'm going to pop up. You're gonna not see Danny and I's face for a second. I'm going to part the largest one-day drops in market cap. Here's a little graph for you. Facebook that just happened, 232 billion. September 2020, Apple 182 was the previous reigning holder. Microsoft in 2020, Apple in 2020, Apple 20, Tesla, Amazon, right? Facebook. This makes up your biggest drops in stock history, right? That's why they want regulation. Those are scary when you're talking about it's repeat offenders. Over. It's the same type of business, same type of companies.
And, when the government tried to regulate stuff and prevent market fluctuations. It's not like they created the Federal Reserve, removed the gold standard, printed a bunch of money, artificially maintained low interest rates, which then caused the market inflation in real estate, which then caused a crash, which then everybody lost their house, and then it took down the entire market. It's not like none of that occurred, right?
Wow.
It's not like they were ever successful at doing it. They were so successful at doing it, none of that happened.
You really are a ripple guy, aren't you? Just a penny falls in the ocean and it just ripples all the way out. Anyway, that's that. So what do we got next?